once we see ourselves at conclusion. Now you're good to go.
Like to call to order PVD Planning Board meeting agenda for Thursday, April 3rd, 2025, held 7 p.m. at the lower level conference room, 24 Lowell Street, PVD, Massachusetts. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the 3/20/2025 meeting. I will accept the motion.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the minutes of the meeting of March 20th, 2025.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Second, Dr. Otto. All those in favor?
President.
Next item on the agenda is A&R and Land Court. You have none. Next item on the agenda C, site building permit plan review, 0 Hardy Street. This is continued from the 3/20 meeting.
Mr. Chairman, we received a email in regards to 0 Hardy Street this afternoon, or a letter from Attorney Jack Kelty asking to continue this to our April 17th meeting.
Mr. Chairman, move to receive a late communication from Attorney Jack Kelty regarding 0 Hardy Street. The date of the communication is April 3rd, 2025, and Attorney Kelty is requesting an extension of time until April 17th. Move to receive and grant said extension.
You have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yeah, that meeting is going to be held. It was June 18th, you said. Yeah.
Did I say June?
Yes. No,
April
no.
17th.
I'm sorry. Before the meeting even started, you were talking about a meeting we weren't going to have. That's in
Oh, in June.
It's my age showing again.
Did that pass?
Next item on the agenda is 60 Pulaski Street, map 53, lot 85. This was also continued from the meeting of 3/20/2025.
Mr. Chairman, since our last meeting, as many of you know, this was put out for peer review by Department of Public Services in regards to the traffic on the site. Just this week, we received back the traffic peer review, which is included as a late ad if the board so chooses to wish to accept. And then just this afternoon, we received back a letter that's been included as well as a late ad from Jim Nicholas, City of PVD engineer, highlighting some of the concerns that are conditions or recommendations that the peer review has brought up. Attorney Kelty is here this evening, but if the board wishes to discuss with the items, they would have to first vote to accept both. As
I'm going to move to take this late ad so we can talk about it. Mr. Chairman, in the matter of 60 Pulaski Street, I'll move to receive a late ad from James C. Nicholas, engineer for the City of Peabody, dated April 3rd. And there are 1, 2, 3. There are 9 points to be remedied or discussed at this time. So move to receive the communication.
Second.
Second, Dr. Otto. All those in favor? Unanimous.
Now that it's been accepted, I can bring up that probably the largest recommendation that needs to be addressed on this is that the second driveway, the southern driveway that has been proposed on this project.
Can you give me one of the late packets?
This one thing.
Needs to be reconfigured. So that is one of the larger ones. And then there's some other items in there as well about a sidewalk that they need to add.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them right there. So like I said, Attorney Kelty is here. The engineer is here as well if this needs to be discussed. So
Before we move down there, I'm going to receive this late ad also in regards to 60 Pulaski from James Nicholas, engineer for the City of Peabody.
no, that's the time.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's from Ty and Bond to James Nicholas. It's traffic peer review, so it is on the record and we can discuss it.
Second.
And then that instrument too is attached to when Jim comes in the morning, he sends, or a while ago, he sent you the time bond report, and then he attached it again to his letter that you got today. And then in his letter, he kind of highlights the 8 or 9 items that were pointed out in the memorandum by Ty and Bond. And yes, this issue of realigning that driveway is of some significance, and I think it's a question that is worth discussing. As Chris Barajas and I discussed before the meeting, there is an easement in favor of the people to our south, which is 58 Pulaski, I believe.
58R
And
plans.
so the reason that it is shaped in the fashion that it is because they have
Just excuse me before you continue. Was there a second with the motion to accept?
seconded it, but
You
we didn't
seconded.
vote.
Dr. Otter seconded.
Because Jack jumped in before you.
And then do we have a vote?
Yes,
No, we didn't have the
We didn't
vote
vote.
So
yet.
we need to have a vote.
yes.
All those in favor?
All
Can we
those in
second?
favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
so okay, that's done.
All right, continue, I'm sorry.
So realignment would require us to be occupying their easement, which is over this sort of pizza-shaped corner of the property. And then also realigning by pushing it further to the north would lose us a row of parking. So we have, we're very reluctant and in fact are suggesting that we cannot realign that particular driveway until such time as there's a discussion with our neighbor and they indicate in some fashion what their plans are for the land. But right now, we're honoring their easement. They have the right to drive over that colored portion and drive over our property. And by locating the dividing island and placing the landscaped area here, we enable ourselves to have a row of parking. Or you would get a real weird configuration of coming from this section to get over to those parking spaces if we move over.
Trail movement.
Yes. Which would not allow Chris is pointing out, that wouldn't allow us to have tractor trailer movement
Which, Mr.
throughout the site.
Chairman, if I may, I understand that this would make it difficult for tractor trailers. I am just nervous with that, this being so close to the other entrance. Your tractor trailers are only going to be going through that side rather than the other side because that's where all the parking is. It makes me nervous that they share an entrance with the other. I guess if it cannot be reconfigured in a way that there's two entrances or there's a shared entrance that works. I mean, we'll leave this for the peer reviewers, but I think there needs to be some sort of hardscape in that easement that differentiates between the two exits and entrances, because I just get really nervous about if there's nothing that is restricting 56R or 58R and the 60 Pulaski. I'm just nervous about turning radius of trucks pulling in. I think it creates a mess if there's no such sort of like real specification on that. Is it something that's possible to do as recommended a potential shared driveway? I guess that you did just receive this memo.
Right.
Has there been much thought put into potentials?
I mean, would removing the landscape here and just making it much wider?
No, that's exactly what I do not want. It's very tough as well. We do not know what the use is going to be on this property. We do know that it's going to be something that's going to require tractor trailers.
Yep.
I'm generally not a huge fan of sharing. I'd love to actually see a regular vehicle entrance and a tractor trailer entrance. I know that cannot be. I mean, that would be the ideal situation. I know that probably cannot be done here. I think the best idea would be to try to make it as separate of an entrance as possible. And I know that you have the street that abuts, so you can't really add it into the middle. And you were saying that with the landscaping strip, so is that landscaping strip as wide in the front because that's what's required by zoning?
This landscape strip here?
Yeah.
Well, without looking, I can't recall. I have to take a look at our landscaping plan, but this landscape strip was sort of placed where it was to make sure that we obviously differentiated between the two driveways.
Yeah.
And that's the best that we could do as far as how far out we could come. we could obviously, with the city's permission, I mean, we could throw some cobblestones and do this either with cobblestones or a paver surface, and extend it a little bit further so that
Why is it's not extended all the way to the road because of the easement? Is that the case?
no, this is the right of way line. So
Oh,
this is the right of way of the city.
Our landscaping goes to the end of our property.
okay.
And I think, we left it like that because we didn't want to extend the landscape strip into the right of way there. We figured leaving it a little bit open at the entrance also gives vehicles a little bit of a,
I think this goes back to that. It's tough that we do not know the tenants or the use in this property. Because in my mind, I think it does make sense that if you have that one entrance at the other side, then you could flow around and just make maybe the other entrance a little bit. Well, then you run into the issue of the street across the street. I'm just nervous about the tractor trailers coming in and out of that entrance with it being so close to the abutting address, as pointed out in the peer review.
Mr. Chairman, question. Can you direct us on how a tractor trailer would enter that side if they had to enter that side, and where they would necessarily go?
sure, you're asking about this entrance?
Yeah, tractor trailer's coming in from Pulaski, where's it going?
All right, so Mr. Chair, for the record, Chris Spurage, civil engineer, registered here in the Commonwealth with offices in Middleton at Williams and Spuragus. And so if I was a tractor trailer operator and I was coming down the street here, we would enter the site. And the loading docks are in the back here. And so this area is designed to allow a tractor trailer to do a movement like this, and then back up into the loading dock.
Okay, so the tractor trailer's just going straight up, it's not going to the right or anything like that?
No, not at all.
Fine, okay,
This is the loading dock area.
yeah, I mean the entrance on the
Oh,
street.
that's right.
Chris, I'm looking at, sorry, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'm looking at this now. I know that they've proposed, the client was very gracious to propose the potential walking path in the back and that there being, parking in there. Well, if there's cars parked in that parking lot, will that create an issue for tractor trailer parking?
These parking spaces
Yeah.
here? No, we've designed this area just like as I showed here, and we've hatched that area this allows this tractor trailer movement to happen.
Yeah.
So these parking spaces are not in the way of any
Okay.
of tractor trailer movements.
Now that I'm looking at this, seeing the tractor trailer turning radius on it, I can't remember on the plan or not. I believe you probably are going to do it anyways, but I would have to ask that you put no parking signs near where that turn is going to happen by the entrance to the path in that area,
Yeah.
just in case someone says, I want to park as close as possible and not park in
No
designated
parking, truck turning here.
Exactly, something to that
Yeah,
sort.
we can definitely add some signage here. We've striped it.
Yeah.
But we can, and I'm just gonna write right on our plan here.
Some people like to believe that sometimes striping doesn't exist for them. So I think, the more the notice that you shouldn't park there, the better.
Mr. Chairman, Attorney Kelty, a little while ago, I believe you mentioned an easement.
Yep.
Can you touch on that again, please? I think I missed.
This section right here, that's a driveway for this property right there, and the easement that cuts into the
The
property.
easement just gives access to the neighboring property,
Yeah,
correct?
Yes.
so it's their actually driveway to get into their property.
Yeah. The edge of their driveway is on our side.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, just a question, who says that the tractor trailer is gonna have a difficult time turning left into there? Who's saying that?
Nobody.
Why is it an issue?
It's not an issue about the turn, it's an issue about the sight distance. Not sight distance. It's an issue about how close it is to that it's like a shared driveway with the abutting neighbor. That it's not an issue about if a truck's gonna be able to turn in there or not. It's more about the safety of that there being two driveways. Really,
I personally, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, it's a left turn in, so the tractor trailer is doing this, if it was a right turn, it'd be different.
a different story.
Yeah, but the left turn, I mean, to me, it works.
Well-
Unless there's something I'm missing.
so the issue is that because there is, and I haven't been out there and recently, and I don't know if there's stop control on the abutting property on the 58R side. So there's no stop control on the 58R side. So if you're pulling out of, if your car pulling out of there and you pull too far forwards and the tractor trailer tries to make that turn, it runs the risk of either, issue is exactly what we're pointing out here, is that when the truck turns in, if you're not stopping and looking, you're going to potentially run right into a tractor trailer.
But if I'm seeing this right, if a car comes down there, the car's gonna see this huge tractor trailer in front of it. There's no trees or anything stopping the tractor trailer
No.
from seeing it. I don't see an issue with it, in my opinion.
And as time goes on, obviously, this won't be built immediately, but as the plans for the adjacent piece of property are worked out, we would have no objection to trying to work on that corner, utilizing their easement in some fashion that improves it greatly. I think the easement was probably created as an easement of convenience because of an existing use pattern on the sites.
It goes way back to the time when,
Yeah.
When these factors were in
Is that-
their heyday.
Yeah,
I don't see a big problem with the proximity of the two driveways. Some good signage would keep a delivery vehicle out of the neighboring property, 60, 58.
I mean, I will say this is the exact one of issues that we're having, with 114 is that there's so many entrances and exits so close to each other.
This is Pulaski.
And there's only.
Sorry, I would say 114, but what I'm saying is that, yeah, I understand this Pulaski Street. What I'm saying is that is an issue that we run into, is that there is too many entrances close to each other. The peer reviewers pointed this out as discussion. DPW as also understands, they believe this is a issue for discussion as well.
Mr. Chairman, can I point out that this is one of 9 issues for which DPS has asked us to hold approval at this point? I think some of the stuff needs to be worked out and shown on the plan too, without getting into the issue of the easement and the shared driveway or not. There are other pieces of this that need to be shown.
Look, and I think that to Dr. Otto's point, I think that there's probably some sort of solution that we can come up with that DPW will be agreeable to. That might not mean redesigning the whole entire thing. I think that potentially working something into the right of way, maybe, or not, could be that answer.
And we can't reduce the landscaping a little bit, or thin it out, or make it thinner. Or back it up a bit too.
Yeah, you can back it up.
that landscaping there?
Yeah, at the bottom of the landscaping, you could bring that up a little bit. I mean,
To open it up more, you're saying?
Right.
So the point here is, that's not what they want us to do. It's better to define it.
Yeah.
And limit the amount of pavement to kind of help people visualize where they're supposed to go. Which is what we try to do with that.
Yeah. The idea is that we do not want this to be an open area that you drive into and it's almost, choose your own adventure, because there's not, it would be a very confusing striping situation if that was a wide open pavement area. And mixing vehicles and tractor trailers with confusing striping is not what we want to accomplish.
Right, it's bad enough at 58 with all that traffic.
Mr. Chairman, just a comment. I agree with Dr. Otto. I think I'd like to see updated plans with incorporating some of the changes requested from DPS. And given that they've asked the board to take no action, I would generally default to their request. Just to my thinking.
Why don't we at least go through them, though?
Yeah, I
so
think
that we can
I-
have a sense of what it is we're going to try to provide for you. And
I think Attorney Kelty, and I think the best would be if we can jump on a call next week with DPW and discuss some of these potential solutions, especially in regards to entrance.
okay, so with respect to the DPS memo, we discussed number 1. Number 2, the plan calls for a section of the existing guardrail to be removed at the proposed site driveways. Tangent and treatments will be required. That's easily accommodated. We can do that. Provide a marked crosswalk across the front access aisle. We can do that.
where would that be? Oh, right
We're
there.
talking about right here.
Yeah, okay.
The public walking trail has two very sharp bends around the northern corner of the large building and the dumpster enclosure next to the smaller building. These will lead to blind corners for pedestrians. Can they be softened or be given larger radii? And our stop point there is high water mark.
Historic high water is, normally we would have a path be nice and smooth and circuitous and that sort of thing, but in this case, we're limited because of the limit of historic high water, and any activity in the historic high water would require us filing a Chapter 91 license with DEP, which is a nightmare that we're trying to avoid.
Would, I've seen this in other places, trail may not be accessible during high water. Signage
Well, I think what
satisfy anything?
what they're stating now is that right now they're out of that,
Right.
but to go into that, it requires
With the soft.
quite a bit of legwork on the applicant's side.
Yeah, the comment was, if someone's walking this way, I don't understand it, but that they should be able to see around the corner better, or I don't know.
That's a pre-existing walkway right now, though.
It is
right?
not.
Oh,
This
it's
site's
not.
completely
Oh,
new.
this is gonna be created by the development.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's the paving surface supposed to be?
Stone dust.
So why could a person not just step off the path a little bit and see where they're going?
Right. I think they'll be able to see through that intersection.
Yeah,
We have a lot of lights.
Our brain is designed to take stuff in at a walking pace.
Is why is there a public walking path anyway? If it's gonna be something that's now created for the first time by the developer.
So there was an ask by the members of the Conservation Commission and the general public, I guess, to create an ability to have a canoe launch along the Waters River. And this is the last property, before you enter the town of Danvers. So we don't have a lot of these things in Peabody or an opportunity to do something like this. And so they asked the developer, and the developer, and I and our office worked together to provide a public access path. If I showed you the landscaping plan, it's pretty extensive. There's a little viewing area at that location, another one here, and then another one here with a set of stairs where someone could come down from the upper parking lot as well. And then Mr. Felitti is also donating an area here where there would be a canoe storage space here, and then the canoe launch. We work closely with Conservation Commission and Lucia to figure all this stuff out.
I mean, I will say from a city of Peabody standpoint, we're very gracious that they're offering to do this. I think this is going to be a great amenity for that area. I can understand where the peer reviewer is coming from. I also believe that would be more prevalent if this was to say for biking. And, I think potentially the, issue to resolve that is a no biking or please walk bikes on pathway signage. And then it's 8 feet wide, the path?
It's 4 feet wide.
4 feet wide. So it's not super wide, the path, but I think to your point, I don't know how many people are going to be going at such a fast pace around these corners that, that this would lead to is there going to be, is there going to be a wooden guardrail along the path?
There's only one location where we have a guardrail, which is around this corner here, because there was a little bit of a drop off. But other than that, we're at grade and no guardrail needed.
Is it pedestrian access only?
Yes.
No bicycles?
Well, we haven't specified that, but we are happy to do that.
I think 4 feet is not wide enough.
Yeah, I don't think
And pedestrians to coexist.
I think please walk bike signage would be the best. And
Honestly, why would you bike here? You get to the end and you turn around and come back.
Never know.
It's relatively short.
yeah, you never know. I mean, I don't think I don't think it's best probably practice to have 90-degree turns, but I don't believe that this is relegated by any such that would require that to be changed.
Especially if you're avoiding a 91 permit by not doing it.
Normally, we would
Right.
make them look
The night, it could be a nightmare.
more pleasing to the eye.
What's number 4?
That is
What that works for?
Yeah,
that is number
5.
What's the next item?
The next item was
Fire truck?
please provide truck and fire truck turning templates to ensure that large vehicles can traverse the site.
we've done that internally. I'm happy to share that information.
Do you want a separate sheet? Because he's already applied them. We know that they work. But since we're coming back with these things shown on the plan, do you want a separate sheet with those
I
turning?
mean, I think you just need to show it to DPW that it works,
Yeah,
and that
gotta
probably
go
just
through
would
that
require a digital copy. So, and if not, just a signed letter stating that it's been done. And probably see if you've done it to DPW, you can CC myself as a digital copy, and you can CC. I'll forward it to Chris Dowling as well. But I believe he already looked at it and knows that it works, because I believe we did get that email that we had all 3 site plans in it from Captain Dowling that stated that.
Number 6 is that a note should be added, all traffic control devices should conform to a MUTCD. We can happily do that. All crosswalks and ADA accessible parking, ADA compliant curb ramps, please verify that they'll all be ADA compliant. I think that can be done also with a note.
They've been designed that way, but we can add a note.
City PV ordinances require that sidewalks be constructed along the entire frontage of 60 Pulaski Street. The ordinance suggests that you match to the sidewalks that you're connecting to. In this instance, we're not, but we certainly would consider adding sidewalk, but we'd like to add it in the public layout, which is, there's our lot line. There's the street. We're showing that we would landscape that section, not only our side, but their side, but we can now put the sidewalk in there in the public layout.
How would you detail it, Chris? Would you have a grass strip or just put it flush to the street?
So right now, we're proposing a series of street trees. So I think I'd like to maybe, it would be, I think the grass strip, whenever we can add a grass strip from the edge of the pavement, it's always best.
Yeah.
And try to push the walkway as close to the street layout line to give as much buffer as we can.
Would you be able to keep the street trees?
Yes.
So you'd be able to have, so what you're proposing is like a 1 foot wide grass strip,
No, I think more than
Okay.
that.
2 foot wide grass strip, sidewalk,
Yeah. maybe
another
even
grass
more.
strip, parking lot, or it's the access way.
Maybe even more than that. This is a rescale. Just to give you an idea, this grass strip, in this particular case, because of its location that we have in our project here, between the back edge of curb on the street and our parking lot, we have about 24 feet to work with. So it's quite a bit of an area. So we can figure it out.
Does the sidewalk dead end in both, does it connect to another sidewalk?
No.
It just dead ends, right? It's
Yeah.
like, it'll look nice in front of your place, but then when they get to the end, they're gonna go, oh, where do I go from here? So.
So to that point, yes, currently, but if you remember that there's a proposed school that's going in
Yeah.
across the street as well. And so,
Oh, it's always good.
yeah, and this
Yeah.
is set up so that as new development happens, it does not promote,
Right.
prolong no sidewalks, and sidewalks are created and something happens.
But it's not somewhere.
Those were the 9 items referenced in time bond and then repeated in Jim Nicholas's memorandum. So we'll add them to the plan. Did you want to try to organize that telephone call with DPS?
Yeah, I'd be happy to have the planning board or planning department to try to set up a meeting next week, discuss.
Whether in person or phone, Chris and I will do either.
Exactly, yeah, with DPW. I'll try to work with them on a schedule. I do just, Mr. Chairman, a question to Attorney Kelty. Has any update or talks happened yet with potential tenants or?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you have architecturals for this project?
No, I don't. Hold on. These are yours. No, I don't think so.
If you could at the next meeting, provide an update on what that potentially is going to be as well.
No, these are all yours, right, Chris?
I think it's 20 plans. Yeah, 17 sheets. No, yeah, that's it. Correct.
I understand that you don't have a tenant yet, so you don't know explicitly if it's going to be built to, spec or not and what it's
I
gonna
think I
look
know
like.
that, what Ray wants to build, so I'll get at least renderings.
Yeah, if we could provide that to us before the next meeting for the board to review. If it sounds like Attorney Kelty, you potentially could be requesting that the board continue this, or
I am so moved.
I guess, yeah, I guess will you ask the planning board that if you so choose?
I would respectfully request that this esteemed body continue this matter until your next regularly scheduled meeting.
Too much gravy. Too much
April 17th.
April 17th. Mr. Chairman, move to grant Attorney Kelty's request for an extension of time on 60 Pulaski until April 17th.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is 1012 Monroe Street.
Mr. Chairman, just before the same team begins again, with that, I just wanted to provide the board an update that one of the last items that the board was looking for on this project was a closeout memo from the Department of Engineering, or from Mr. Bob Langley, who was reviewing the engineering on this project. That was handed to the board at their last meeting in person. We handed that out. If not, I also can pull up a digital copy too, if need be. The other item as well that we were waiting on was this project, as required by the city zoning, requires affordable units to be created as part of this. And due to their size, they only need to create 1.8, which is rounded up in our zoning to 2 affordable units. So Attorney Kelty has included a affordable housing application. I just, had a couple questions for Attorney Kelty when it comes up, just to ensure that it meets the language of our zoning bylaw. We'll say at the last meeting, there's been discussion, or since the last meeting, there was discussion about size of parking as well, and just what the building looked like. So I think Attorney Kelty, I will now let you speak on this.
Yes, so we're anticipating that this will be a condominium project, and so when I completed the application for the affordable housing, we used a hopeful sale price of, what did we say, 488 or 488, and I did not fill in. I know there's a formula that says how much the affordable units would go for. We will abide by that, and if there's any change in the we will have as we go along, we will have a real sale price for the board to consider, but we're happy to revisit the entire issue if it turns out they're rentals. But I think we're going to stay focused on condominium. One of the comments on the plan was where were we going to be able to stage? We've opened discussions with George Glennis, who owns the property immediately adjacent to us, and he is mindful of our request and would certainly consider it. And I believe that will become our staging area. Frankly, it's the only place around the place. So as the Three Stooges so accurately, it's probably the place. And then we've also added length to our spaces so that they will extend a little further in this direction and then into that direction and out here, so that they will become 9 by 18. I think they were 7 by
9 by 17.
9 by 17 before, and we can make that change, and it's not reflected there, right?
It's not,
But we can make it. We
same number
know.
of parking spaces, same number of.
So at that juncture, we will have complied with the size of the parking spaces. The number of parking spaces we were proposing was always compliant with zoning. It was the size that was at issue. And I think that's all that's left for the board.
Can you address the sidewalk issue? Number 6 on the letter.
That's the question of the easement, as I recall. Yeah, so that was something very early on, because there's not a lot of room in the right of way of Monroe Street or Hardy Street. Our sidewalk for public access is literally on the private property. And so because of that, Mr. Langley required that we provide an easement document, which we have submitted that to the city.
How wide is this level?
It's 5 feet wide with vertical granite curbing, which is the city standard.
Thanks.
The water and sewer lines, must be inspected. Yeah, the conditions as to who should be available and inspect, that Bob suggested, we're amenable to all of those.
And you're aware of the affordable housing portions?
Yeah, I did an app showing us that we would condo, there'd be 2 units. They're the same size units as the, they're all the same size. There are 2 larger units by a handful of square feet, and then there are, they're all roughly 1,100 square feet.
And sorry, Joe, just on that same track for the affordable housing, really quickly, they, as per the ordinance, they have to be split between the floors and they cannot be next to each other, the units. They have to be evenly distributed throughout the building.
Sure.
So,
Well, Mr. Chairman, Roy Semos, another board member here who couldn't be here tonight, asked me to bring up that the developer, the owner, would be responsible for the cost of any telephone poles being moved, any electrical utilities that are, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but he just wanted to make sure that it's on the owner to pay for all that stuff as far as what the municipal light would be providing, for service. And that would be moving telephone poles, underground wiring, whatever you guys are doing. He asked me to make sure I mention that and have that in if there is a motion tonight that the owner and developer will be responsible for that cost.
to Joe's point, I spoke with Roy this afternoon as well. So there's a telephone pole, or there's a pole in front of the building that will need to be removed, not removed, will need to be moved to accommodate this project. And Mr. Semos let me know that, yeah, they will have to be bared the full cost by the applicant to coordinate that. And
Was it just a telephone pole or was there something
So
else?
I think it's an electric pole. It's a pole that I believe has both Verizon, PMLP Electric, as well.
So I'd just like that to be included if there is a motion tonight for Mr. Semos, who actually works at the municipal light. That's why we'll bring that up.
PMLP, and they look like don't have the same story.
Okay, well,
Any other questions from the board? Hearing no other questions from the board, we'll accept them.
I guess, yeah, Mr. Chairman, hold on, sorry. You to comment to that, to the point about the
Yes,
pole?
through you, Mr. Chair, regarding the utility pole, our understanding through our client who has been in contact, it's been a little while, but with PMLP, is that they were going to help bear the cost of moving the pole because it's currently on the private property. That's what was explained to Mr. Salvaggio.
so, I mean, when we need to create the new system for our building, we'll work with community, with PMLP.
Yeah.
As to who pays for it, that's not necessarily a condition of this board. We'll pay if we have to and are happy to. If we can
Well,
have some work done for nothing, we're not shooting the messenger.
unfortunately, I would be in favor of a motion only if I can honor my fellow board members'
You've advised us,
request
so we
to,
understand it.
pay for that. And then you guys can work it out.
Right.
That's all.
Again, no other questions from the board. I'll accept the motion.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, in the matter of 10 and 12 Monroe Street, I would move a conditional approval for permit to issue. Conditions being 11 laid out in the memo from Robert Langley dated March 19th. Additionally, the developer shall work with PMLP on moving poles or bringing energy to the site.
Sure, and it has to be planned by them.
Very good. An additional condition is no building permit to be issued until the Affordable Housing Plan and Participation Agreement has been approved and signed by the PBD City Council. Participation agreement must be executed by the applicant, signed by the mayor, recorded at the registry of deeds, and submitted with the building permit application. Proposal shall meet the development standards as stated in section 6.11.4. The end.
Mr. Chairman, just one note on that. You said to work with PV Municipal Light to work out something, but my mention was that the owner developer would be responsible for the cost of that, move of that telephone pole. Otherwise, I would not be in favor of moving forward on this.
I think what's in the street is going to be PMLP's, what's on their property is going to be theirs. So
That's fine.
hopefully something can be
Well, when you,
worked.
through the chair, when you talk about working it out, I would characterize the process as working with the PMLP to satisfy their requirements as to the allocation of the cost of the work,
Okay,
because that gives PMLP the leeway
all right,
to say, we'll split it with you or whatever they want to do.
all
If
right.
they say 100%, then it's 100%.
Okay, I'll buy that. I'm flexible.
Second.
Let's just clarify. So we are sticking with the motion that is on the floor that, in the words of John, that they're to work out with PMLP this issue.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're sticking with that motion.
We are.
We have a second for Mr. Walsh.
Can we have a roll call?
I just wanted, before you, Mr. Feld is attendance as well.
Mr. John Ford,
Yes.
Attorney Peter Avenatti.
Yes.
Dr. Judith Otto,
Yes,
Mr. Sean Walsh,
Yeah.
Mr. Joseph Gagnon.
Yes,
Mr. Dennis Feld.
he raised his hand.
Okay. Mr. Thomas Bettencourt.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Michelle, do you need to?
I think there's a copy for me.
Yeah. Bring that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appointments, letter from Paul DRC, manager of TV Living LLC. Stonegate subdivision.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to provide an update to the board. So as many of you know, in the fall, PBD Living LLC, which were the builders of Stonegate subdivision, filed to seek a release of their bond that they were holding as they believed the subdivision was done. And a series of discussions and reviews, DPW had came up with a list of items and that needed to be completed prior to that release. Since that had been released, or since that had been sent to PBD Living LLC, it came to DPW's attention that there had been erosion issues that had been taking place up on site. I believe it was included in your packets this week, a memo from DPW showing this erosion. Since this had been sent out, we met just yesterday, DPW, and I was in attendance with this, and PBD Living LLC, and discussion took place on how to best remedy that situation. We're in hopes that by the next meeting, that there is a solution that is agreeable between both parties in place and that they will be able to come. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a full release of the bond, which we actually don't know yet, but there's street trees that were planted. Mr. Brian Grant, if you remember, had submitted a memo just stating that until the spring, which is now the spring, but I don't know if it's correct time just yet to go look at those trees to ensure that they are complete or not. Secondly, if you remember correctly as well, there's actually two bonds that we're looking to release. There would be the performance bond out there, and then second to that, there was a roadway bond as well. If we remember that, there was $50,000 that PBD Living LLC had put in a bond for roadway damage on site, and they were to videotape the property and roadway prior to construction and then when they were done. They've done that. They've submitted it to Mr. Nicholas. We should be getting a final report from everything on what we should vote to, or what the board should vote to release or not. So I just wanted to provide an update that everybody is trying to work together here, trying to move this forward, trying to get to a planning board vote. And I received an email yesterday afternoon from Mr. DiBiase seeking a request to be moved to the continue this item until the April 17th.
This time we'll accept a motion for that.
Mr. Chairman, in the matter of Stonegate, move to receive a communication from Ubi DiBiase dated April 2nd, 2025, and received by the city the same day, April 2nd, 2025. It's sent to Mr. Levin, Mr. Paulitz, and Mr. Nichols on the city side. Further in the memo, there is a request for an extension of time until April 17th. Move to receive and grant said extension.
Have a second? Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. The correspondence, Stonegate subdivision, we just went over that. Any other matters probably before the board?
Can I ask about the other communication? Was aggregate industries was not in my packet, is it?
Sorry, it was in the digital, it's like a 500-page document. Yeah, it's,
okay.
the aggregate report is on your document, and if you can't find it, let me know. I'll gladly send it over to
I'll take a
everyone.
look there.
Any other matters probably before the board?
We seem to have one laid ad here that I'm gonna receive just to get it on the books. Have a laid ad here from the city PBD affordable housing application. And it should go with 1012 Monroe. I believe this is just a copy of the document to be used to utilize affordable housing on that site. So I'm going to move to receive this. The date on the city stamp is March 28th. And it's City of Peabody Affordable Housing Application. Move to receive,
No second?
period.
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Any other matters probably before the board?
I will say that, I'm sorry, Dr. I don't want to steal your thunder here, but thanks to Dr. Otto's leadership, the subcommittee has worked their way through the rules and regulations governing a subdivision of land that the city of Peabody done. So I just want to thank Dr. Otto for her leadership on that and helping that. And I'm sure that in the coming future, we will present her some sort of summary soon for further discussion with the board.
He's the best.
Thanks, guys, you're embarrassing me.
I have something I'd like to discuss. It's not on the agenda. It's actually the scenic road on Forest Street. That this does not, this particular item does not fall under our jurisdiction, but at either end of the streets, there are no trucking signs, vehicle weight capacity signs. It's really doing nothing to stop truck traffic. If Department of Public Services could refresh these signs or install new signs. I'm not sure if that's in our purview or we should ask the city council to step into that.
Yeah, I can reach out to Will Paulitz about
And
this.
just because now we get trailer trucks are traveling that road now. And
Yeah.
I realize it's an easier cut through, but it's been increasing.
I will. I'll reach out to the Department of Public Services. Address this request.
That's my little pet
And
peeve.
half of that road is full of potholes, the other half has been repaved. I don't understand.
Well, again, that heavy truck traffic could be damaging the road. It could be damaging the stone walls. So
This is along the golf course.
yeah, scenic.
I drive down that when I come home from Salem, and when you have two cars coming, it's close. I don't know what, if you have a tractor trailer coming down there, and they're always going down.
Trash trucks, those big reliable
Yeah.
But
trash trucks coming down there, they're not supposed to.
Oh,
come
yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
That's them. And at the beginning, it says no trucks. So
Well, again, thank you. We'll take care of that.
you need a motion to, okay, I'd like to move the board communicate with
Oh
DPS.
no, that I
No.
don't need a motion for. I thought you were saying about adjournment.
Oh,
Yeah, we'd like that.
Mr. Chairman, move to adjourn.
second.
Do we have a second? All those in favor? Unanimous. Again, thank you all for your presence and your